have the return of our favorite game, fan favorite, our favorite. It's Play Shelf Trade. If you haven't witnessed Play Shelf Trade for you before, shame on you. It's simply this: we're going to give you 3 games, and we're going to go around the board, and we're going to tell you which game we'd like to play right now, which game we will keep on our shelf because it's that amazing, and which game we will trade away because we're not feeling it. So I guess I'll get us started here. We're gonna our 3 games they're all in the category of dice chuckers, which when we in our meeting we were discussing the term dice chuckers, I just immediately thought of like skirmish games and war games and things like that, or D&D. But we're trying to stay away from that. But these are still games that you chuck dice, right? Is that right, Daniel? Did I get that right?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't call it a dice chucker personally. That's what John called it. I would just call them games with dice in it. But whatever.
It's because we're doing, this is the theme, Andy. We're doing the Fox experiment.
Do you have to chuck dice or not?
You chuck dice in the Fox experiment, and so we wanted other games that give you that feel.
So we wanted to have more dice. Okay. Well, anyway, we all came up with. Let's face it, I ram-horned this through because their original choices I didn't care for. I picked 3 games that you chuck dice: Las Vegas, Raja of the Ganges, and Role Player. So let me tell you how I feel about them first. So
tell us a little bit about the games, maybe?
Well, sure. Why the heck not? Las Vegas is a very simple game, and it's a very fun game. You can be played anywhere. In fact, I have taken Las Vegas with me on a raft trip before, when all we did was took all our camping gear on a raft and went down the river. But Las Vegas, you're just chucking dice, literally, and you're assigning the different dice values to different casinos to try and win those casinos and win the money there. It's a fun little game for everybody. Plays 2 to 5 players, although I don't think 2 plays great. I think you have to play with a kind of an AI mechanic in that case. But Las Vegas is a fun game. Raja of the Ganges. Well, that's one of my favorite games of all time. You are using, you're chucking dice. Every time you gather new dice, you chuck them, and then you assign them to different places. It's worker placement with dice placement. And it is a fantastic game. And it looks great because the colors are fun. They're like green and orange and purple and blue, and it looks really cool. And then Role Player is not a bad game either. You're also, you have colored dice, and you are assigning the dice to be different characteristics for a character that you're building, and there's kind of a puzzly element to that. So I'll get into what mine are real fast because I'm running out of time already. But so the one that I would play, this is tough.
I'm glad you thought of these and still don't have an answer.
Well, no, I do have an answer. I just,
especially when he chose them and vetoed the other ones.
Well, I guess I would play Las Vegas. I would play Las Vegas because it's just a fun time. It's an easy, good time for all. I've never had a terrible experience with it. It's very social. It's one of those games you can play and you can get to the table and you can have a lot of fun talking during. And there are a lot of games that we play that you can't do that really because of analysis paralysis and that sort of thing. So this is a great social game, Las Vegas. I would play that. I would definitely put Raja of the Ganges on my shelf. I've said it before. It's one of my top 5 games. I love it. I love everything about it. It's really and the funny thing is I describe it as a race game because it is. You're trying to race to get 2 different things, fame and money, to meet. And when they meet in the middle, it ends the game. And then Role Player. This was a little bit hard because I like Role Player, but it's kind of not really grown on me as much as I thought it would. I think it's because I haven't gotten some of the expansions and the replayability just doesn't quite feel there. So I would probably trade away Role Player at this point. That's my Play Shelf trade. Daniel, what say you?
All right. Well, I will start off with my shelf, the one I want to keep forever, the one that I will be married to, and that is Role Player. It's on my shelf right now. It is a classic game. It has a really cool theme that resonated with me, and of course I had to give it a try. And that's like building your Dungeons and Dragons character. You get to put the dice to kind of create these stats, but what's really fun about it is it's not just roll better. It's sometimes you want to shoot for these low numbers. Like sometimes you get bonuses because you rolled a 1 and a 1 and a 1. So the theme of it is kind of fun and exciting, and then the way you place the dice kind of have some good combos. Like if I place in the strength thing, I get to do a special ability. If I place in the dex, I get to do ability. So a lot of good choices there, a lot of fun choices. My trade, mostly because I'm just tired of Andy always trying to shoehorn it into everything, and that is Raja of the Ganges. You know, when we did our deserted island game, he took joy in getting rid of all of my Marvel games, all my good quality games. So you know what, you got to build this one back up for me, Andy, if you want me to get it back to the table. So because of that, I'm gonna play Las Vegas, which is a fine time. Andy said it right. It's just a good, you're sitting around the table, you want to finish the night up in a quick, fun, easy way. Sure, play it, but you don't, I don't know. I think some people in this group like it a little bit more than I think it's worth. So
interesting.
You know, Daniel, I think that leftover vengeance is not cool, man. I mean, isn't there a verse in the Bible about letting the sun go down on a board game episode? And I don't remember what it was exactly, but it's there. And
something like
but
that.
You're in the wrong.
So that was thousands of years ago. That doesn't apply today.
Right? Okay, very good. That's right.
Wow.
Isn't that how that works? Right.
John?
Man, Chris, I expect more. All right. Interesting on this play shelf trade, because I think I pretty much, even though these games are vastly different from each other, I kind of put them on the same level as far as my enjoyment. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of an interesting list because they're wildly different, like I say. But I think what I'm looking at here, I haven't played Role Player in a long time. I know the few times I played it, I really liked it. And it's funny, at the time, I didn't understand, why do people want a game to use with this player when you're done? I don't understand, because I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons guy until I played DCC with Chris here. And that's like the first thing you do is create your character. Then you do stuff with them. That's why people were wondering, what do I do with this guy now? I'm like, what do you mean? The game's over. It's done. What are you talking about? So, but the game itself is really cool, and it does come.
Welcome to the 1970s, John.
So thank you. Yeah, Mr. Dungeon Master Andy that knows all this stuff.
Actually,
anyway,
Daniel does, not me.
So, Role Player I think is going to be my play because it's been a while. I've always enjoyed it, and I think I do need to give it another try. I think and then Las Vegas, it's always a blast. It's lighthearted. It's fun. You're going to get a victim of some dice rolls here and there, and that's just the way it is. It's not the best, most strategic player wins kind of a game, but it's quick and it's fun. And when you do have, things going your way, it's like Vegas, man. It's just, I can't lose. So that one is going to go on my shelf because that's always a fun one to play. It's always a good one to pull out when people come over. So that means Rajas is going to be a trade for me as well, Andy. It's not out of vengeance or spite. It's just because, and to be honest, it probably does. It has the closest feel to the Fox Experiment of any of these games. So
what? No.
I mean, as far as what you're doing, because you're not.
No. You're an idiot. I'm sorry.
Okay. Now I am trading it for spite. Never mind.
Raja of the Ganjas is not anything like Fox Experiment. We'll get to that in a bit, but holy crap, no.
I mean, because of what
there's so much less math in Raja of the Ganges. I mean, what can I say?
I mean, because of what you do with the dice and how you handle them. The game is completely different. But as far as what you do with the dice. So, because...
And also, he said specifically compared to, of these three, it's the closest.
Of these three games. It's not of every game. But of these three games, I think it's the most. So,
right.
Anyway, it's being traded.
Like me saying, like, an Apple is the closest thing to a Chevy if I'm... looking at apples, and I don't know. Never mind. I got nowhere to go with this.
Thank you for the input. So, my play is Role Player. My shelf is Las Vegas. My trade, originally not because of spite, but now because of spite, is Rajas of the Ganges. Chris, what do you got?
All right, guys. So
you suck.
Man, he didn't even say anything yet. Give him a break, Andy.
I thought that was for you. If it was for me, I tip my hat, Andy. If that was for me, if you're just out of nowhere,
it was definitely for
booing. All right, so guys, this may be my easiest play shelf trade of all time. Like when the board games were finalized, which ones we were doing, because Andy decided to change it on his own. Immediately, I was like, "Oh, I got my answer. There's no way around it." So I'm gonna jump straight to it. So the shelf is Las Vegas. This is one of my favorite games. I love this game. Daniel was insinuating that, talking about me when he says someone likes this game more than they should, and maybe I do. But it's just fun. It's quick. It's the epitome of a filler game for me, right? Something you really can knock out in 20 minutes. Even if you're playing with new people, it takes 2 minutes to explain. And there is some strategy, but then there's not, and there's like layers of like depth of the strategy and stuff like that. it still doesn't play fantastic at 2 players, but it still can play okay at 2 players because of kind of what Andy was alluding to. Is usually what happens is you each choose a set of colors of dice, and then you split another color of dice, and you have to roll those with you, and so it adds kind of an AI player kind of thing. Well, not AI, NPC. Can't say AI. I'm sorry, we're gonna get canceled by a bunch of artists or something. Whatever. But regardless, so it's fantastic. I love that game. Okay, then my play is going to be Raja the Ganges because I've only played it once, and I had an all right time with it. In fact, I had a fantastic time with it, but that's only because Ryan and I were playing with Andy, and Andy is not the greatest at teaching games. I'm just going to be honest, but he's not awful either. But to his credit, he was fantastic this time because he told us over and over and over, guys, it's a race game. The game ends when these two things get together, and that's what you need to focus on. And we're like, okay, Andy, yeah, we know what we're doing, whatever. And we got stomped. stomped. And both of us, Ryan, we knew what us were ready for it. And he's like, all right, I win. And we looked at each other like, well, he told us. So anyway, so I want to play it again because it was interesting. And then role player, like, man, this is a trade because I have such a bad taste in my mouth about this. So I like role-playing games. Again, I'm the one that's evangelizing Dungeon Crawl Classics to everyone that I know because I love it. And like role player, it's just like John's the theme guy, right? Like he only cares about a game if like the theme feels right. And this just feels like the most tacked on theme for a game ever. Like nothing about it actually felt like I was actually making a character in the first place. And then even then, like, you know, John talks about how all these people all the time are like, well, what do I do with my character now that I've made it? Exactly. Like, it didn't even matter what you did. It was just themeless and random. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I need to play it again. But I remember being completely just like, what did I even just do? This is boring and themeless, and I don't feel like anything's really happening. So,
Chris, you might be the first person I've ever heard say role player is themeless. You're literally building your character stats. You're trying to reach 18 because you're a barbarian, 18 strength and 16 dexterity, and then wisdom is 5. Like that, you're building your character. You're trying to optimize it.
I'll be the second person to say it then because
I'm an old school player and I don't like optimization in D&D.
He put it into words what I meant to say, and that was that it does feel like it's slapped on because it's really just a puzzly game. It has nothing to do with D&D. It has nothing to do with role playing. It has nothing to do with fantasy. It's just kind of slapped on and tacked on. And I kind of agree. I feel like if you could do something with your player once you built him, maybe I'd like it more. Or if there was just more depth to it. Like I said, maybe the expansions add something to it, but
this is a great question. This is for Daniel because he knows more about this like world, like, you know, like they got a whole world of those games. Like, is any of the other games built to use your role player character in?
I think so, aren't they?
Yeah, role-playing adventures. They eventually came out with one where you can then run it through or whatever. Okay. But you can do it, but you can choose not to do it too. You can play it a different way.
Sure. I mean,
but you say the other games in this world, the other game is cartographers. So
I thought there was a whole bunch of them though.
There's cartographers, Lockup, which is like a worker placement game. But the one that directly corresponds with role player is this role player adventure, which is
Vast,
using your character to go on an adventure.
Is Vast in this world too?
No, it is not.
Oh, what am I thinking of? I don't know.
Root.
Oh, Vast and Rooter. Okay. Well, whatever. Anyway, you're missing out on Raja the Ganges, John and Daniel, because the thing about Raja that's so great is you do have to build an engine, but you also have to like know when enough is enough.
Yeah.
And that's
enough is enough with this segment.
Beautiful.
And Ryan and I did not at all.
All right. Well, which game would you play? Which game would you shelf? And which game would you trade? Please tell us in the comments below. Do you agree with us? Or are we blathering idiots? Yes? Wait, yes isn't on the teleprompter. I just read it naturally. Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Hey, thanks for watching a clip from Around the Board. It's a show that comes out every other Thursday where we discuss board games and board game topics. We're awarded points, and at the end, whoever wins gets to be on their soapbox and say whatever they want. So if you want to watch the full episode, find the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.